Beloved chosen one, your presence here is no coincidence. The hand of God has directed your steps, brought you to this moment, and placed this message before you with divine intention. The instant this video began, heaven acknowledged your arrival. The angels took their places, and the unseen realm recognized that a child of the King had stepped toward the inheritance prepared long ago. What you are about to receive is far more than a simple message. It is not meant merely to inspire or entertain. It is a prophetic declaration, a sacrée affirmation, and a heavenly announcement that the season of your divine increase has already begun. Across generations, this promise has remained alive. Through the passing of centuries, a hidden spiritual legacy has been carefully preserved. For countless years, a royal inheritance has waited for the one destined to awaken, stand with courage, and reclaim the spiritual and financial authority that had been concealed, ignored, and nearly forgotten. That appointed person is you, as Habakkuk 2:3 reminds us. For the vision is yet for an appointed time. Though it delays, wait for it, because it will surely come. Chosen one, that appointed season has arrived. The blessings that heaven reserved for your life before the beginning of time are now preparing to manifest. They are not coming because of flawless performance or personal achievement, but because you have been chosen and positioned according to God's purpose. This is the moment where prophecy meets fulfillment. This is the turning point written over your life. This is the beginning of your divine transfer. Before we continue, I invite you to take one simple step. Like this video, share it with someone whose spirit needs this encouragement, and subscribe to this channel. What you are receiving is much more than words on a screen. It is a heavenly confirmation for those whom God is awakening to their true identity, their royal calling, and the purpose that has always belonged to them, and to everyone who has supported this ministry through super thanks. God bless you richly. Your faithfulness, your presence, your spiritual alignment does not go unnoticed by heaven. To every chosen one who keeps returning, who keeps listening, who keeps elevating, you are part of this rising royal lineage, and I am truly grateful for you. If your spirit feels this frequency right now, if something deep inside you is resonating with these words, type 77 inches. The comments. That number is not random. It is a sacred signal to the Most High that you are ready. Ready to step into your inheritance. Ready to awaken the ancient power within you. Ready to rise into the divine identity that has been prophesied for 1,000 years. Understand this. Chosen one. Not everyone will stay until the end of this message. Only those whose bloodline has been marked by prophecy, only those who feel the spiritual pull of destiny will receive the clarity, the revelation, and the activation that this word carries. This is not something you hear once and forget. This is a living word. This is an ancient echo rising inside you. This is a prophetic blueprint unfolding piece by piece. Watch this again whenever your spirit leads you, because each time you listen, another hidden layer of your divine identity will awaken. Another piece of your royal purpose will rise to the surface. Let me tell you something I've learned through my own journey. There were seasons in my life when I felt completely forgotten, overlooked, passed over. I watched people with less anointing get promoted while I stayed hidden. I wrestled with God about it. I questioned the timing. I wondered if I had missed my moment. But what I didn't understand then, what I know now with absolute clarity, is that heaven was not ignoring me. Heaven was protecting me. God was not withholding my blessing. He was preserving it because what he had assigned to my life was too valuable to be revealed before its appointed time. And chosen one. The same is true for you. Long before you took your first breath, long before your parents dreamed of you, long before your bloodline settled into the form you know today, there were ancient voices, seers, visionaries, prophets, spiritual scribes who received a divine message about a chosen heir who would rise in a distant generation. This message was not written lightly. It was not symbolic. It was not poetic metaphor. It was a direct spiritual revelation preserved across time, protected by heaven, and whispered through centuries. The prophecy spoke of a hidden royal, a divine heir whose identity would be concealed for generations, not born into privilege, but born into struggle, not raised in royalty, but shaped through trials, a chosen one whose destiny would remain protected until the appointed time. This heir would be different from birth, different in spirit, different in energy, different in calling. The ancient writings described someone who never quite fit in, no matter how hard they tried. Someone who carried an inner heaviness and unexplained wisdom even as a child. Someone who felt disconnected from the world around them, who endured attacks early in life, who survived situations others would have crumbled under, who sensed a higher purpose long before understanding it, who walked through life feeling watched, guided, and protected without knowing why. They wrote of someone who would be pushed, tested, and refined by life, not because they were weak, but because they were chosen. Someone the enemy would target early, because darkness often identifies divine identity before the person does. The prophecy revealed that this heir would not rise in peaceful times. No. This awakening would occur when the world was thick with confusion, chaos, spiritual blindness, and deception. It would be a generation where truth would be rare, wisdom would be ignored, and people would walk more by fear than faith. It predicted that the heir would carry ancient spiritual DNA qualities passed through generations, hidden beneath layers of pain, trauma, and survival, supernatural intuition, unbreakable resilience, prophetic perception, a warrior's endurance, a healer's compassion, and a leader's inner fire. These traits would not be learned. They would be remembered. Remembered as the heir awakened, remembered as the soul reconnected to its ancient purpose, remembered as the spirit realigned with destiny. And chosen one, that moment has already begun for you. The moment you started seeing differently, the moment you felt the shift in your spirit, the moment your mind broke free from old patterns, the moment your discernment increased, the moment you felt called higher without knowing why, that is when the ancient prophecy activated, when your eyes opened spiritually. The heavens recognized you. When your awareness awakened, your lineage stirred. When you stepped into alignment, your royal identity began to rise to the surface. This prophecy was not written for a multitude. It was not for a crowd. It was not generic. It was specific, precise, personalized, chosen one. This prophecy did not describe a group. It described you. You are the one it pointed to. You are the one it foresaw. You are the one destined to rise when the world needed you most. This chapter of your life is not random. It is the fulfillment of what was spoken 1,000 years ago. I remember the day I finally understood this truth in my own life. I was sitting alone in my car after another closed door, another rejection, another disappointment, and I cried out to God. I said, "If I'm supposed to be chosen, why does it feel like I'm forgotten?" And in that moment, I heard the Holy Spirit whisper to my spirit, "You were never forgotten. You were being formed." That word changed everything for me, and I believe it will change everything for you. 2. Chosen one. You may look at your family and see nothing unusual. You may see brokenness, poverty, dysfunction, silence, struggle, or ordinary people living ordinary lives. But spiritually, beneath the surface, beneath the history, beneath the pain, something far greater has always existed. Nothing about your lineage is random. Nothing about your ancestry is accidental. Nothing about your bloodline is ordinary. God hid your true inheritance in plain sight, protecting it through generations, so the enemy would never fully detect where the royal heir would emerge. And that heir is you. Your bloodline carries ancient power qualities that did not begin with you, but awakened in you. Ancient resilience rooted in generations who refused to give up. Generational strength forged through battles your ancestors survived without recognition. Divine intuition. The inner knowing that has guided your family long before you were born. Prophetic insight. The ability to see truth others miss. Spiritual intelligence. The wisdom that grows in your spirit, not in books, and a warrior spirit. One that refuses to break even under spiritual warfare. You come from a lineage that endured storms others would not have survived. People in your bloodline carried burdens that would have destroyed weaker families. They fought battles, quietly hoped in secret, cried in silence, and kept going because heaven was preserving something special within your line. Some of your ancestors prayed for deliverance, not realizing that deliverance would arrive through you. Some asked God for a champion, not knowing that the champion would emerge generations later. Some begged heaven for someone to break the cycles, the curses, the spiritual chains, and God marked you as the one who would fulfill those prayers. The world may have forgotten that your bloodline was royal. Life may have covered it under hardship. Time may have buried it beneath survival. But heaven never forgot. And when your awakening began, the dormant attributes of your spiritual heritage started rising powerfully and unmistakably. Your discernment sharpened because your ancestors were seers. Your intuition grew because your lineage carried prophetic sight. Your inner authority strengthened because leadership runs in your spiritual DNA. Your voice gained weight because your words carry ancestral power. Your presence shifted atmospheres because your spirit remembers its ancient identity. This is not new power. It is awakening power, dormant strength rising, hidden inheritance activating, ancient identity resurfacing. You are the bridge between the past and the future. You are the manifestation of everything your lineage endured to protect. You are the continuation of a spiritual kingdom that never died. It just went underground. The hidden bloodline is no longer hidden. The royal inheritance is no longer silent. The ancient identity is no longer sleeping. It is awakening. And it is awakening through you. Chosen one. Let me share something personal with you. There was a season in my life when I could not understand why everything felt so heavy. Why every step forward required 10 times more effort than it seemed to require for others. Why I was constantly battling invisible forces that nobody else seemed to see or acknowledge. I thought something was wrong with me. I thought I was being punished. I thought God was angry with me. But what I did not realize at the time was that I was not being punished. I was being prepared. I was not under a curse. I was under construction. Heaven was forging something in me that could only be built through fire, and chosen one. If you look back over your life, you will notice something powerful. Your battles were never normal. Everything you went through felt heavier, deeper, more intense, more personal than what others around you experienced. And for a long time, you may have blamed yourself. You may have wondered why life seemed harder for you, why you were targeted, why you were misunderstood, why you were isolated, why you were attacked spiritually, emotionally, or mentally. But here is the truth. Your battles were never about your circumstances. They were about your identity. The enemy knew who you were long before you figured it out. This is why the attacks came early. This is why the pressure was intense. This is why you faced warfare others could not see. This is why you felt alone, even in a room full of people. The battles you faced were not random. They were strategic. The betrayals were not accidental. They were attempts to break your trust. The heartbreaks were not coincidence. They were designed to shut down your heart. The losses were not punishment. They were meant to crush your spirit. The moments of isolation were not mistakes. They were engineered to silence your purpose. The spiritual attacks were not exaggerated. They were direct hits on your destiny. You were not being attacked because you were weak. You were being attacked because you were dangerous to darkness. Your very existence threatened the kingdom of darkness. Your potential terrified the enemy. Your purpose disrupted generational curses and spiritual strongholds. Your awakening activated ancient power the enemy tried for centuries to bury. Everything you went through was designed to make you question three things. 1. Your worth. Because a royal who forgets their worth will never claim their throne. 2. Your purpose. Because a chosen one who doubts their calling will never walk in their assignment. 3. Your spiritual authority. Because once you activate it, nothing can stop you. The enemy tried to confuse you so you would not discover who you really are. He tried to exhaust you so you would not rise. He tried to wound you so you would not awaken. He tried to break you so the prophecy would not be fulfilled. But chosen one, you survived what was designed to destroy you. You healed from what was meant to poison you. You awakened from what was meant to numb you. You rose from what was meant to bury you. Your awakening is proof of your power. Your clarity is proof of your calling. Your resilience is proof of your royal bloodline. Because hear this truth. A1. 000-year-old royal bloodline does not awaken quietly. It does not rise without resistance. It does not reclaim authority without triggering spiritual warfare. The fire you endured was refining you. The pressure you felt was shaping you. The warfare you battled was awakening your ancient identity. You were forged in adversity because kings and queens are never formed in comfort. They are formed in fire. You were shaped through spiritual storms because your spirit carries authority strong enough to shift generations. You were strengthened by darkness because you were born to bring light, and chosen one. You overcame it all. You walked through fire and came out refined. You faced storms and came out stronger. You survived battles that were meant to erase you. I will never forget the moment I realized that my pain had purpose. I was reading the story of Joseph in Genesis, how he was betrayed by his own brothers, sold into slavery, falsely accused, and thrown into prison. And yet years later, he stood before Pharaoh and said in Genesis chapter 50, verse 20, "You intended to harm me, but God intended it for good, to accomplish what is now being done, the saving of many lives." That scripture broke something off of me because I realized that every attack I survived, every betrayal I endured, every moment of isolation I walked through was not wasted. It was all preparation. It was all positioning. It was all part of the plan. And chosen one, the same is true for you. What the enemy meant for evil, God is turning for your good and for the deliverance of many. You spent years wondering why your greatness seemed invisible to others, why people overlooked you even when you carried more potential than they could see, why you were underestimated in places where you should have been celebrated, why you felt like you were not being chosen, invited, or acknowledged, even when you were doing everything right. But hear this truth with your spirit. You were hidden, not rejected. God placed a covering over your life, not because you were unworthy, but because you were too valuable to be revealed prematurely. Heaven hid you the way ancient rulers hid their royal heirs, protected, concealed, and surrounded by divine secrecy until the appointed moment. Your hidden season was intentional. It was holy. It was strategic. You were hidden because your calling needed time to grow without interference. Divine assignments required depth. God was shaping you away from noise, distractions, and counterfeit paths, so nothing could distort your purpose. Your spirit needed time to mature in silence. If you had stepped into your destiny too early, the weight of it would have crushed you. You needed wisdom, emotional stability, spiritual clarity, and inner grounding. You needed to learn who you truly are before others tried to label you. Your gifts needed time to sharpen without jealousy or sabotage. Had people seen your potential too soon, some would have tried to copy it, crush it, or corrupt it. God kept you hidden so your talents could grow without being attacked or manipulated. Your voice needed time to gain power and authority. Your words now carry spiritual weight, but that strength had to be built through experience, through heartbreak, through silence, through revelation. And even though it often felt like you were behind, forgotten, or delayed, the truth is this: you were not behind. You were being preserved. God planted you deep so no storm could uproot you. He allowed you to grow quietly, inwardly, and spiritually until your foundation became unshakable. You were not forgotten. You were being guarded. There were people, environments, and opportunities that looked good, but were not good for you. Heaven blocked access because exposing you too early would have attracted unnecessary warfare, jealousy, and spiritual attacks. You were not delayed. You were being prepared. Every tear was training. Every disappointment was refinement. Every season of isolation was spiritual conditioning. Every no was divine redirection. Just like ancient kingdoms hid their true heirs from enemies, assassins, and threats, heaven hid you because the magnitude of your destiny required protection. God kept you unseen until your identity became strong enough to stand in the spotlight without crumbling. And chosen one, now that time has come, you are feeling it. Your spirit knows it. Your atmosphere is shifting because your season of revealing has begun. The covering is lifting. The spiritual camouflage is fading. The hidden identity is stepping into the light. People who once overlooked you will start noticing your presence. People who once underestimated you will feel a shift when you walk in a room. People who did not see your value will suddenly sense your authority. I've watched this happen in my own life. People who ignored me for years suddenly started calling. Doors that were shut for seasons suddenly opened. Opportunities I never chased began chasing me, not because I changed who I was, but because my season changed. My time had come. And chosen one, your time has come. 2. The shift you have been feeling lately, the inner transformation, the emotional clarity, the intuitive sensitivity, is not something ordinary people experience randomly. What happened to you was not just a spiritual moment or a temporary phase, it was divine activation. Your awakening was the signal heaven had been waiting for. It was the sound that echoed across the spiritual realm. The air has awakened. The chosen one has risen. The moment your inner world began to change, the atmosphere around you responded. Your awakening was not gentle. It was not subtle. It was a spiritual alarm clock that announced your royal identity is no longer dormant. Your awakening showed itself in many ways. When you started seeing through people, detecting their intentions, their spirits, and their energy, without needing explanations, that was your ancestral discernment, switching back on. As your spiritual awareness deepened and you began recognizing danger, falsehood, or hidden motives before anyone spoke a word, you were witnessing an ancient gift coming back to life within you. When certain people suddenly left you, exhausted, while others filled your soul with peace and strength, it was your royal spirit, remembering its sacred nature and refusing to remain connected to anything that no longer aligned with your calling. When the life you once knew began to release its grip on you, when relationships that once felt natural no longer belonged in your journey, heaven was gently leading you away from places that could no longer support the person you were becoming. When familiar surroundings started to feel unfamiliar, it was because your soul had grown beyond its former identity. And when you longed for quiet moments alone, not because of loneliness, but because your spirit desired deeper communion with God, it was part of a divine process of separation, purification, and preparation for greater revelation. Every transition carried a message from heaven. Every uncomfortable season pointed toward a greater purpose. Every flash of understanding confirmed that God was guiding your steps. Every emotional transformation revealed that something holy was unfolding within you. Your awakening was never an accident. It was the activation of your royal identity. The moment your true spiritual nature began to emerge, it marked the time when the hidden heir stepped into the place that had always been prepared. In the unseen realm, your awakening did not go unnoticed. Heaven celebrated it. Angels responded to it. The forces of darkness recognized it with fear, because the awakening of one chosen soul changes the atmosphere of the spiritual world. Whenever a royal spirit rises, forgotten authority is restored. When a divinely appointed lineage comes alive again, destiny begins advancing with unstoppable momentum. This awakening reaches far beyond your own story. It carries the weight of generations, fulfills prophetic purpose, and reflects the hand of God. It is the sound of strongholds collapsing, old patterns being broken, true identity being restored, and spiritual authority returning in fullness. It is the announcement that the kingdom within you, the spiritual kingdom you inherited through centuries of resilience and warfare, is reactivating, reclaiming its throne, reclaiming its place, reclaiming its authority. I want to tell you something that happened to me during my own awakening. I started having dreams I could not ignore. visions that shook me awake in the middle of the night, prophetic encounters that left me weeping before God. And in one of those moments, the Lord showed me a vision of a throne room, and I saw myself standing before a throne that had been empty for generations. And the voice of the Lord said to me, "This seat has been waiting for you. Your ancestors prayed for this. Your lineage fought for this. And now it is time for you to sit down and rule." That vision changed my life, because I realized I was not just living for myself. I was living for every generation that came before me, and every generation that would come after me. Chosen one. The hidden royal bloodline is no longer sleeping. It is no longer suppressed. It is rising. And it is rising through you. Chosen one. If you pay close attention to what is happening around you right now, you will notice that life is not moving the way it used to. Things that once felt stuck are suddenly shifting. Situations that once felt heavy are becoming lighter. Paths that were blocked are now clearing. This is not luck, not coincidence, not randomness. This is divine alignment. In this very season, heaven is rearranging everything around you to move you into your rightful position. What you are experiencing is spiritual acceleration, a supernatural push, a repositioning orchestrated by God Himself. You will begin to notice the right people entering your life, individuals with purpose, wisdom, divine timing, and spiritual alignment. These are not accidental connections. They are destiny connections. People who recognize your value without you explaining yourself. People who carry keys to the next chapter of your assignment. Opportunities opening effortlessly. Opportunities you did not chase. Speak for. Hors force. Doors that once seemed impenetrable suddenly unlocking, simply because you are in the right season. These openings confirm that your name is being spoken in rooms you have not entered yet. Divine protection intensifying. Enemies losing access to you. Situations shifting to remove danger. Relationships ending without explanation, and obstacles disappearing before they reach you. Heaven's shield around you is thicker now because of the magnitude of what you're stepping into. Old burdens falling off. Patterns you could not break before suddenly dissolving. Emotional weights lifting. Confusion leaving. And toxic cycles ending. What once held you back can no longer attach itself to the version of you that is rising. Strange favor surrounding you. Things working out faster than expected. Blessings coming from unexpected places, and supernatural ease replacing old resistance. Where others struggle, you will glide. Where others strive, you will flow. A new sense of direction, a deeper understanding of who you are, where you are going, and what God is calling you to do. You will feel guided, pulled, instructed, and aligned like never before. This is not coincidence. This is positioning. This is your destiny shifting into place. This is your purpose, pulling you forward. God is moving you into roles, plus, and environments where your royal identity will be needed. Your presence carries weight now. Your spirit carries authority. Your words carry impact. People will be drawn to your wisdom without knowing why. They will be magnetized by your energy, comforted by your strength, and awakened by your spirit. Doors that remained locked for years will open simply because you walked toward them. Your spiritual authority, awakened and recognized in the unseen realm, will unlock places man could not. Heaven is not waiting anymore. It is establishing your authority, your unseen throne. Your spiritual seat of influence, leadership, and divine assignment is being restored piece by piece. Your purpose is becoming clearer. Your calling is becoming louder. Your steps are becoming ordered. What once seemed impossible is now inevitable. What once seemed distant is now unfolding before your eyes. I have seen this in my own life. Doors I stopped knocking on suddenly opened from the inside. People I never reached out to began reaching out to me. Favor I never asked for began following me. And I realized that when God decides it is your time, no devil in hell can delay it. Chosen one. This is the fulfillment of the ancient prophecy. The 1,000-year word spoken over your lineage is not something in the far future. It is happening right now through your awakening, through your steps, through your existence. Everything is aligning. Everything is shifting. Everything is falling into divine order. Chosen one. I need you to receive this truth with confidence, with boldness, and with spiritual authority. You are not ordinary. Nothing about your existence, your journey, your spirit, or your purpose is average. You are not a mistake. You are not random. You are not just another soul moving through life. You are a prophetic fulfillment. You are a spiritual continuation. You are a divine appointment. You are a long-awaited rising. You are the embodiment of a prophecy whispered centuries ago. You are the awakening of a lineage that was hidden for generations. You are the return of a spiritual kingdom that darkness could not erase. You are the heir that history tried to bury. You are the one your ancestors saw in visions. You are the one they cried out for in prayer. You are the one they protected through their sacrifices. You are the one the enemy feared, because if you ever awakened, if you ever healed, if you ever remembered who you are, if you ever stepped into alignment, nothing in the spiritual realm could stop what would rise through you. And now you have awakened, and everything is shifting because of it. Your spirit is stronger than ever because your inheritance is activating. Your inner voice is louder because your purpose is calling. Your dreams are sharper because your destiny is unfolding. Your intuition is deeper because your ancient wisdom is resurfacing. You are the rise of a royal bloodline, not a physical royalty, but a spiritual one. A lineage marked by divine favor, a family line strengthened by survival, a bloodline defined by spiritual authority, resilience, and purpose. Everything you experienced, every storm, every setback, every betrayal, every lonely season served one purpose: to prepare you for the throne God has reserved for you. This is not a physical throne, but a place of influence, purpose, leadership, and spiritual authority. You are stepping into the calling God designed specifically for your life. You are embracing the identity heaven established for you long before your first breath. As you move forward, people will begin to see you differently because the unseen realm has already acknowledged the authority you carry. Your presence will inspire confidence. Your voice will speak with purpose. Your spirit will carry the authority that comes from walking in alignment with God. Wherever you go, atmospheres will change, hearts will be touched, and lives will be influenced not because of personal ambition, but because you are living out the assignment heaven entrusted to you. You are not pursuing recognition. You are stepping into the inheritance that has always belonged to you. You are not searching for a crown. You are reclaiming the one prepared for you. You are not transforming into someone unfamiliar. You are awakening to the person God always intended you to become. There came a season in my own journey when I stopped asking God why everything was happening and began asking what He desired to accomplish through me. His answer was clear: do not hide the gift I have placed within you. Rise, because the world is waiting for what I have called you to carry. Chosen one, that same invitation is being extended to you today. Refuse to hide any longer. Do not diminish yourself or apologize for the anointing God has placed upon your life. The ancient promise has been pointing toward this very moment. The royal inheritance preserved through generations is awakening, and God has chosen you to reveal it. Step forward with confidence. Walk boldly in the authority He has given you. Take your rightful place in His purpose. You are the one God has called. You are the heir appointed for this season. You are living evidence that His promises never fail. This is not a distant future. It is your present reality. The prophetic moment has arrived. You are not striving to become someone greater. You are remembering the identity heaven has always spoken over you. Your spiritual authority has been awakened. Your place has been prepared. Walk in confidence. Embrace your inheritance and fulfill the assignment God has entrusted to your life. If this message has spoken deeply to your spirit, declare your agreement by typing Amen. Share these words with someone who needs this encouragement. Subscribe for more messages of faith, and continue walking boldly in the purpose God has prepared for you. Your appointed season has arrived. May God's abundant blessings rest upon you. Chosen one, take a moment to be still and recognize the significance of this moment. Your presence here is not the result of chance, coincidence, or another ordinary click through countless videos. You have been led here by the hand of God. The one who created heaven and earth has brought you to this message because He is preparing to move in a remarkable way within your life. You are standing at the doorway of a season marked by supernatural provision. A divine release of blessing has been spoken over your life and your spiritual inheritance for generations. Heaven is aligning with God's perfect timing, and His angels are carrying out His purpose on your behalf. This is your moment of awakening. Chosen one, it is a gentle invitation from the throne of God, calling you to embrace a destiny far greater than you have imagined. As Habakkuk 2:3 declares, for the vision is yet for an appointed time. It will surely come. It will not delay. That appointed season has now arrived. The abundance, provision, and opportunities that heaven has prepared for you are no longer distant hopes. They are drawing near, waiting for your faithful response. Prepare your heart. Beloved, what God is about to release into your life is not intended to bless you alone. He is shaping you into a channel through which His generosity, provision, and favor can flow to future generations. This is a calling that reaches beyond personal success and into eternal purpose. Chosen one, there is something you must fully understand. You did not discover this message by accident, nor were you simply passing time when these words appeared before you. This encounter was known in heaven long before today began. Before you opened your eyes this morning, the Father already knew this moment would come. Every step of your journey has been gently directed so that you would arrive here at this precise season, ready to receive the word He intended specifically for you. There is something moving in the spiritual realm right now. Anointed one, can you feel it? That stirring in your chest, that quickening in your spirit. That's not anxiety. That's not confusion. That's the Holy Spirit bearing witness with your spirit that you are standing at the edge of the greatest supernatural shift of your life. The wealth transfer that has been prophesied over your bloodline is no longer far off. It is here. It is now. And heaven is waiting for you to step forward and receive it. I remember a season in my own life when I felt stuck. I was doing everything right. Praying, believing, working hard. But nothing was moving. I watched others around me step into their destiny while I sat in what felt like a spiritual waiting room. I questioned God. I questioned myself. I wondered if I had missed my moment. But then one day I heard a whisper in my spirit. Your delay was not denial. Your waiting was preparation. And your moment is coming. Chosen one. That same word is for you today. Every delay you've experienced, every closed door, every moment when it felt like heaven was silent, it wasn't rejection, it was divine positioning. God was setting the stage for something so big, so undeniable that when it happens, no one will be able to take credit but Him. You've been in the wilderness. Yes, but even in the wilderness, God was with you. Just as He led the Israelites through the desert to prepare them for the promised land, He has been leading you through your own season of refinement. And now, Anointed One, you are about to cross over. The Jordan River is parting, the walls of Jericho are about to fall, and the abundance that heaven has reserved for you is about to flood into your life in ways you cannot yet comprehend. This is not wishful thinking. This is not motivational talk. This is a prophetic declaration over your life. You're entering your wealthy place. But here's what I've learned through my own journey. And this is critical. The moment before the breakthrough is often the hardest. The enemy knows what's coming. He sees the wealth, the influence, the anointing that's about to be released over your life. And so he will try one last time to make you doubt. He'll whisper that you're not ready, that you're not worthy, that you've made too many mistakes. He'll remind you of every failure, every setback, every disappointment. But I'm here to remind you of something greater. You are not defined by your past. You are defined by your calling, and your calling, chosen one, is to walk in abundance. Not just financial wealth, though that is part of it, but spiritual wealth, relational wealth, mental and emotional peace. You are called to live a life that reflects the glory of God, a life that makes the world look at you and say, surely the hand of the Lord is upon this one. So right now, I want you to make a decision. I want you to silence every voice of doubt, every whisper of fear, and every lie that says, you're not enough. Speak out loud if you need to. I am chosen. I am anointed. I am ready to receive everything heaven has prepared for me. Say it again. Let it settle into your spirit. Because, Anointed One, the moment you align your confession with heaven's declaration, the floodgates open. Chosen One, let me take you deeper into a truth that will revolutionize everything you believe about prosperity. The wealth you're seeking isn't something you need to chase down or beg heaven for. It's already woven into the very fabric of your identity. Before you were formed in your mother's womb, before your first breath, before your first thought, God encoded abundance into your spiritual DNA. You were never meant to struggle. You were never meant to barely survive. You were created to thrive, to overflow, to be a living testament of heaven's unlimited supply. I'll be honest with you. There was a time when I believed that wanting wealth made me unspiritual. I thought that desiring financial freedom somehow contradicted my faith. I watched religious people around me glorify poverty as if being broke was a badge of holiness. And for years I accepted lack as my portion. I convinced myself that God wanted me humble and that humility meant living small. But then something shifted. I began to see the truth in Scripture, not in religion's interpretation, but in God's original design. Look at Abraham. Look at Solomon. Look at Job. These weren't men who apologized for their wealth. They weren't embarrassed by their abundance. They understood something that the modern church has forgotten. God delights in prospering his children, not so we can hoard it, not so we can live selfishly, but so we can become conduits of his provision to a broken world. Wealth in the hands of the righteous is a weapon against poverty, injustice, and lack. And you, anointed one, you are righteous, not because you're perfect. None of us are. But because you've been chosen, set apart, and called for such a time as this. The wealth that's coming to you isn't just for you. It's for the schools you'll build, the communities you'll transform, the generations you'll impact. When God releases wealth into your hands, he's not just blessing you. He's positioning you as a distributor of his kingdom economy. Now, I know what some of you are thinking. You're looking at your current bank account, your current circumstances, your current reality, and you're wondering how this could possibly apply to you. You're thinking, this sounds good, but I'm barely making it. I've got bills. I can't pay debt. I can't escape. And dreams that feel impossibly far away. Chosen one. That's exactly why you're here. That's exactly why heaven orchestrated this divine appointment, because God specializes in the impossible. Let me tell you what I've witnessed in my own life. There have been moments when I had no logical reason to believe things would turn around. Moments when the numbers didn't add up. When the doors seemed permanently shut. When every natural indication said, give up. But in those exact moments, when I was at my lowest, when I had nothing left to offer but faith, that's when God moved. Not because I deserved it, not because I earned it, but because he is faithful to his promises. And here's the promise over your life right now. The season of barely making it is over. The season of scraping by, of living paycheck to paycheck, of watching others prosper while you struggle. That season is closing. A new era is opening. An era of supernatural provision. An era where resources chase you down. An era where opportunities that you didn't apply for suddenly land in your lap. An era where heaven itself conspires to elevate you beyond what you could ask or imagine. But, anointed one, you must partner with this shift. Faith without action is dead. You can't sit passively and expect the wealth transfer to happen while you do nothing. No. You must begin to move as if it's already yours. You must begin to speak as if it's already done. You must begin to position yourself as the billionaire, the influencer, the world changer that heaven has called you to be. Start making decisions from that place. Start carrying yourself with that authority. Start walking in the confidence of someone who knows their destiny is secure. Chosen one, there's a spiritual battle happening over your bloodline right now, and you need to recognize it. For generations, your family has bumped against an invisible ceiling, a limitation that kept them from the wealth, the peace, the abundance that God always intended. It wasn't just bad luck. It wasn't just poor timing. It was a spiritual assignment designed to keep your lineage small, struggling, and powerless. But I'm here to tell you with prophetic authority that assignment is being cancelled today. You are the generation breaker. You are the one who shatters the ceiling and steps into wealth your ancestors couldn't even imagine. Let me get personal with you for a moment. When I started understanding this truth, I went back and studied my own family tree. What I found shook me. My great-grandparents worked themselves to exhaustion, but died with nothing. My grandparents scrimped and saved their entire lives, yet barely survived. My parents did everything the world told them to do. Got the degrees, worked the jobs, followed the rules, and still lived paycheck to paycheck. One emergency away from disaster. And for years, I believed that was just how life worked. I thought financial struggle was normal. I thought barely getting by was my inheritance. But then something inside me shifted. I had a moment where the Spirit of God spoke so clearly it rattled my bones. What held them back will not hold you back. What stopped them will not stop you. Their ceiling is your floor. Anointed one. When I heard that, everything changed. I stopped accepting lack as my destiny. I stopped making peace with limitation. I stopped agreeing with the narrative that struggle was just part of my family's story. I made a decision in that moment that altered the trajectory of my entire bloodline. This curse ends with me. And that's the decision heaven is calling you to make right now. You must decide with finality and authority that the generational pattern of poverty stops here. The cycle of debt, the mindset of scarcity, the spirit of lack. It all ends with you. You are not a prisoner of your past. You are not chained to your family's financial history. You are a son, a daughter of the King of Kings, and you carry the authority to rewrite the entire narrative. Now, let me be very clear about something. Breaking generational curses doesn't mean disrespecting those who came before you. Your parents, your grandparents, they were warriors. They survived things you and I will never fully comprehend. They endured hardships, fought through impossibilities, and sacrificed everything so you could stand where you're standing today. You honor them not by repeating their struggles, but by stepping into the breakthrough they prayed for, but never got to see. Think about this. Chosen one. How many nights did your grandmother kneel beside her bed and cry out to God for a better future for her children? How many prayers did your parents whisper over you when you were too young to even remember? Those prayers didn't evaporate. They didn't get lost in the atmosphere. They've been accumulating in heaven, building momentum, gathering force. And now, in this appointed season, those prayers are being answered. You are the living, breathing fulfillment of intercessions spoken over your bloodline decades ago. You are the manifestation of promises declared before you were even conceived. But here's the weight of this calling. With the blessing comes the responsibility. You're not being elevated so you can hoard wealth and live selfishly. You're being promoted so you can become a conduit, a channel through which heaven floods resources into the earth. The wealth coming to you isn't just for your generation. It's generational wealth meant to flow to your children, your grandchildren, and bloodlines not yet born. When you steward this correctly, you don't just change your life. You redirect entire family trees. You become the hinge point where everything shifts from lack to abundance, from poverty to provision, from curse to blessing. Chosen one. I need you to hear this with absolute clarity, because this is the word heaven is releasing over your life right now. You are entering a season of supernatural acceleration. Everything that should have taken you years is going to happen in months. Breakthroughs that logically require decades are going to manifest in weeks. Doors that have been locked for generations are going to explode open overnight. This isn't gradual progress. This is divine acceleration that defies every natural law and human timeline. I know your logical mind is already trying to figure out how this could possibly work. You're looking at where you are and wondering how you could get to where God says you're going. But, Anointed One, you must understand, God doesn't operate within time constraints the way you do. When He decides it's your moment, everything converges at once. Natural timelines become irrelevant. Linear progression gets thrown out completely. Think about Joseph. 13 brutal years in slavery and prison for crimes he didn't commit. Forgotten. Falsely accused. Seemingly abandoned by the very God who gave him the dreams. But then one conversation with Pharaoh, one divine appointment, and in a single day, he went from prisoner to prime minister. Everything stolen, every year lost, every dream that seemed dead. It all came back, multiplied in one explosive moment. Let me share something personal. There was a season when I spent years believing, declaring, working, and seeing almost nothing change. Years of watching everyone around me get promoted while I stayed stuck. I questioned everything. I wondered if I'd misheard God. I wondered if maybe the acceleration everyone else experienced just wasn't for me. But here's what I didn't know. God was working behind the scenes the entire time. Arranging connections. Positioning resources. Dismantling obstacles. All in the invisible realm. Then suddenly everything erupted at once. Within weeks, God did what I couldn't accomplish in years. Opportunities I never applied for sought me out. Doors I wasn't knocking on swung open. Relationships that changed everything walked into my life without warning. And I realized my delay wasn't denial. It was strategic positioning for explosive acceleration. That's where you are. Chosen One. You've been in the hidden season where God has been setting things up behind the scenes. It has felt long. It has felt discouraging. But nothing has been forgotten. Every promise is still active. Every prophecy is still in motion. And now you're about to watch it all manifest at breathtaking speed. But acceleration seasons demand readiness. When things move slowly, you ease into change. But when God accelerates, you need to be spiritually and mentally prepared to receive at supernatural speed. You can't hesitate when the door opens. You can't shrink back when the blessing arrives bigger than you imagined. You must be bold enough to walk through and faithful enough to steward it. The waiting is over. Your acceleration has begun. Chosen One. We need to address something most prophetic voices avoid. But it's critical to your breakthrough. There is a war raging in the spiritual realm over the wealth about to be released into your hands. The enemy knows what's coming. He sees the transfer heaven has authorized. He recognizes that once you step into your billionaire potential, you won't just be blessed. You'll become dangerous to his kingdom. Wealthy believers who know their purpose are the most threatening force on earth. Let me be direct. The resistance you've been feeling isn't random. The attacks on your finances, your peace, your relationships, they're not coincidental. They're strategic. The enemy has been throwing everything at you to discourage you, distract you, and make you give up right before your moment. He's been whispering lies. You're not worthy. You've made too many mistakes. This will never happen for you. And if you're honest, Anointed One, there have been moments when you almost believed him. I've been there. I've faced seasons where the spiritual warfare was so intense I could barely function. Nights when financial pressure crushed me. Days when I wanted to quit and accept that maybe wealth wasn't for me. The attacks came from everywhere. Unexpected bills, broken relationships, mental exhaustion, and the enemy kept whispering, "Say, you're not chosen. This prophetic word isn't for you." But here's what I learned in that fire. The intensity of the warfare is directly proportional to the magnitude of the breakthrough. The harder the enemy fights, the bigger the blessing he's trying to block. He doesn't waste energy on people who aren't a threat. The fact that you're under attack right now is proof you're about to step into something massive, and here's what will shift everything. The enemy has no legal right to stop what God has ordained. He can harass you, but he cannot halt your destiny. He can delay you, but he cannot destroy the plan. Every attack you faced has only been preparing you to steward the wealth with wisdom when it arrives. Think about Job. The enemy stripped away everything: wealth, health, family, reputation. But Job held on. And when the warfare ended, God didn't just restore what was lost. He doubled it. Job's latter days were greater than his beginning. The wealth that came after the battle exceeded anything he had before. That's your story, Anointed One. What the enemy meant for evil, God is turning for good. Every tear has been collected, every sacrifice recorded, and now heaven is releasing compensation, not just restoration, multiplication. You're receiving double for your trouble, wealth that makes up for every year of lack. Every season of struggle. Remain steadfast. Chosen One, this is not the time to retreat or surrender. The opposition may seem stronger than ever because the enemy recognizes that your season of breakthrough is drawing near. Stand your ground with confidence. Continue speaking God's promises over your life. Often, the greatest turning point comes at the very moment you refuse to give up. There is a truth you need to embrace. Even if it challenges you, you cannot fully walk into extraordinary abundance while holding on to a mindset shaped by limitation and lack. Your external reality is deeply connected to what you believe about yourself. The blessings God is preparing to entrust to you require more than financial increase. They require a renewed identity, transformed thinking, and a heart that is ready to carry greater responsibility. Simply receiving more resources is not enough if your perspective remains unchanged. Lasting abundance begins with inner transformation. Many people unknowingly delay their own breakthrough because, although they pray for favor, speak words of faith, and hope for greater opportunities, they still see themselves through the lens of fear, scarcity, and struggle. As a result, they hesitate when opportunities appear. They doubt themselves when new doors begin to open. Even when blessings arrive, they often pull back because deep within they question whether they are truly worthy of receiving what God has prepared for them. I remember a season that completely reshaped my understanding. I found myself attending an event surrounded by successful entrepreneurs and influential leaders, people whose achievements far exceeded my own. Looking around the room, I felt completely out of place. I avoided conversations, questioned my value, and quietly convinced myself that I did not belong among them. Then someone with remarkable success approached me, met my eyes, and shared words I have never forgotten. He said, "Your greatest obstacle is not a lack of ability. It is the belief that you are unqualified to stand where you have been invited. The day you begin seeing yourself differently is the day you stop feeling like a visitor and start walking as someone who truly belongs." Those words revealed an important lesson. Before your circumstances can fully change, your identity must be renewed. When you begin to see yourself the way God sees you, chosen, capable, and called you, become ready to embrace the opportunities, responsibilities, and blessings He has already prepared for your life. Those words destroyed me. Chosen one, because he was right. I had been carrying myself like someone visiting wealth instead of someone destined for it. That night I made a decision. I would no longer apologize for my calling. I would no longer shrink to make others comfortable. I looked in the mirror and declared, I am not a beggar hoping for a blessing. I am a son of the King, and wealth is my inheritance. I don't chase money. Money chases me. I am not lucky. I am divinely favored. The moment I shifted my identity, everything around me began to shift. People treated me differently, not because I had more money, but because I carried myself differently. Opportunities showed up not because I was doing anything new, but because my energy changed. Wealth started flowing not because I hustled harder, but because I finally aligned with who heaven always said I was. This is what you must do now. Stop identifying with your current circumstances and start identifying with your divine calling. Stop introducing yourself based on struggle. Stop defining yourself by what you lack. You are not broke. You are not struggling. Those are temporary conditions, not permanent identities. You are a world changer, a wealth builder, a kingdom financier, someone heaven has invested in, anointed and appointed to carry influence and resources. That's not arrogance. That's alignment. That's not pride. That's truth. So speak this out loud right now. I am chosen for billionaire potential. I am anointed to carry generational wealth. I am appointed to steward kingdom resources. This is not hope. This is my identity. This is not a dream. This is my destiny. The moment your identity shifts, your reality has no choice but to follow. Chosen one, I need you to understand something that will radically shift how you pray, how you believe, and how you move forward. From this moment, the wealth transfer you've been asking for is not something that's going to happen in the future. It's already in motion, right now, in the spiritual realm. Resources are being reallocated. Accounts are being shifted. Connections are being orchestrated. Doors are being unlocked. The transfer has already begun. You just haven't seen the physical manifestation yet. This is why faith is so critical. Faith isn't hoping that God will do something eventually. Faith is recognizing that God has already done it. And now you're simply waiting for the invisible to become visible. It's already released in heaven. Now it's breaking through into the earth realm, and your job isn't to beg for it or convince God to release it. Your job is to position yourself to receive what's already been allocated to you. Let me paint a picture for you. Imagine someone wiring $1 million into your bank account right now. The transaction is complete on their end. The money has left their account. It's in transit, but it hasn't hit your account yet. What would you do? Would you panic and say, I don't have any money? Or would you operate with the confidence of someone who knows the deposit is on the way? You'd start making decisions based on what's coming, not based on what you currently see. That's where you are right now. Anointed one. Heaven has already released the transfer. Angels are already moving on your behalf. Divine appointments are already being arranged. The wealth is in transit. And you need to start operating like someone who knows the deposit is coming. Stop begging. Stop doubting. Stop acting like you're still waiting for God to make up his mind. He's already decided. The transfer is already authorized. Now you just need to prepare to receive it. I learned this principle the hard way. Years ago, I received a prophetic word that a significant financial blessing was coming. But months went by and I saw nothing. I started doubting. I started questioning whether I'd heard correctly. I went back to operating in lack, making decisions based on my current reality instead of the promise. And you know what happened? The blessing was delayed. Not because God changed his mind, but because I wasn't positioned to receive it. I was still thinking small, still operating in fear, still letting my current circumstances dictate my actions. But then I had a revelation. I realized that God doesn't lie. If he said it, it's already done. So I made a radical decision. I started acting like the blessing had already arrived. I started making decisions based on the promise, not the problem. I started carrying myself with the confidence of someone who knew wealth was on the way. And within weeks, everything shifted. The doors opened. The opportunities manifested. The money showed up, not because I worked harder, but because I aligned my actions with heaven's declaration, chosen one. As we come to the close of this message, I need to leave you with something weighty, something that will anchor everything we've discussed. The wealth coming to you is not just a blessing, it's an assignment. You are not being promoted to billionaire potential so you can live comfortably and forget the world. You are being entrusted with kingdom resources because heaven has a mission that only you can fulfill. The wealth is the tool. Your assignment is the purpose. God doesn't randomly distribute abundance. He strategically positions resources in the hands of those he can trust to steward them according to his will. And the fact that you're reading this right now, the fact that your spirit has been stirred by every word, the fact that something inside you has been awakening, that's proof you've been chosen as a steward. Not just a consumer. You are being entrusted with wealth because heaven has seen your heart, tested your character, and deemed you faithful. But here's the truth that separates those who sustain wealth from those who lose it. You must know your assignment. You must be crystal clear on why heaven is releasing this into your hands. Is it to build that ministry? Is it to fund education in underserved communities? Is it to create businesses that employ thousands? Is it to be a silent financier of kingdom projects that will shift nations, whatever it is? You need to know it, own it, and walk in it with unshakable conviction. I remember when my first major financial breakthrough came, I was so overwhelmed with gratitude that I almost forgot to ask the most important question: God, what do you want me to do with this? And in that moment, he reminded me that every blessing carries responsibility. He didn't give me wealth so I could hoard it or waste it on things that don't matter. He gave it to me because there are people only I can reach, projects only I can fund, and assignments only I can complete. And the same is true for you. Anointed one. There are people waiting on your obedience. There are communities that will be transformed because you said yes to the wealth and the assignment that comes with it. There are generations not yet born who will walk in freedom because you chose to steward this blessing with integrity and purpose. So, as you step into this new season, I want you to ask yourself, what is my assignment? What has God been whispering to my heart that I've been too afraid to pursue because I didn't have the resources? What vision have I been carrying that seemed impossible until now? Write it down, pray over it, and begin to move toward it with the confidence that heaven is backing you. This is not the end. Chosen one. This is the beginning. The wealth is coming, The doors are opening. The transfer is in motion. And you, yes, you are about to step into a dimension of influence, impact, and abundance that will leave a mark on eternity. So, I leave you with this. Don't shrink back. Don't second-guess yourself. Don't let fear or doubt steal what heaven has already released. Walk boldly into your billionaire potential. Embrace your divine assignment and become the vessel of transformation that heaven created you to be. The breakthrough is here. The wealth is yours. The assignment is clear. Now go and fulfill it. You have been chosen. You have been anointed. You have been prepared for this moment. Chosen one. As this message comes to an end, take a moment to recognize what has taken place within your spirit. You are not leaving this encounter as the same person who arrived. Something has shifted deep inside you. Something has been released. Something God has awakened within you can no longer be silenced or forgotten. The divine transfer we have been speaking about is not simply a future promise. It has already begun. Heaven has given its approval. Angels are carrying out God's purpose. Doors that once seemed impossible are already beginning to open. You have entered your appointed season, a sacred moment when what was hidden begins to appear, and what was promised starts becoming reality. I declare over your life that every chain of financial lack is being broken. Every generational barrier is losing its power. Every opportunity the enemy attempted to block is being opened by the mighty hand of God. You are moving into the place of provision He has prepared for you. You are stepping into the fullness of your God-given potential and becoming the instrument through which His blessings will reach many others. Do not allow fear to make you retreat. Do not question what your spirit has recognized during this message. That deep stirring within you, the renewed sense of purpose, the fire that has been ignited in your heart, these are reminders that God is calling you to move forward in faith. Embrace that calling. Walk faithfully in it. Steward every opportunity with humility and integrity, and trust that heaven will guide and strengthen every step you take. If these words have spoken to your heart, share this message with someone who needs the same encouragement. Leave a comment declaring, "I am chosen. I am prepared. I receive God's purpose for my life." Let your faith be expressed with confidence and gratitude. Chosen one, your season of breakthrough has begun. God's provision is already moving on your behalf. Your purpose has become clearer than ever before. Now step forward with courage. Remain faithful to His leading, and walk boldly into everything He has prepared for you. The greatest chapters of your journey are still ahead. May God richly bless you.